Seriously, I look like a mob boss. I look like I'm trying to protect my identity. I just need a roll. Anyway, welcome to Stone Soup Poetry, all open mic. Next week we resume with the features. We are going to be very pleased to feature Elliot Gray Boudin, someone I met on the North Shore. We were part of a celebration in Salem called Micro Marvels, and both of us performed at the same time. If you want an example of what the Micro Marvels is, it's look at any poetry journal that's has very short poems. In my case, I was representing Molecule, a journal that takes poems no greater length than 50 words. I believe that also includes interviews and nonfiction and fiction as well. And then there's the group that Mr. Boudin represented, which was called 5 Minute Lit. This is a online journal, and it's basically stories of less than 100 words. Of 100 words, actually, no more, no less than 100 words, and that includes title. And it's a very hard to get into that magazine, the online journal. I actually made an attempt and haven't heard back, but Buddha's selection was really impressive. I was introduced to him through MP Carver, who's the founder of one of the co-founders of Molecule. So after a conversation, I knew I wanted to get him there, much in the same way I got last week's feature. So I'm looking forward to having even more new voices to Stone Soup in the coming months. I think we can all agree that Tobias's Tobias Hoffaker's feature was really good. I'm looking forward to Buddha's next week. So, without any further ado, this is an all open mic, so let's get the all open mic going. Up first, let's bring up Jackie Chow while she's still here. She's holding on for dear life in the corner
I'm
of a
still
broom
here.
closet. Yes. So
Yes.
Jackie,
Okay.
take it away.
Okay. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna read two poems. Okay. Okay, this first one is a haibun and it's a free verse haibun. So it's not a traditional haibun, but a free verse one. Okay, let me see. Oh, okay, got it. Um, okay, so it's called Dark Water. Water collected on the concave road after the rain. The air smelly of petrichor. I made faces, my reflection, widening my eyes, revealing gap teeth in a wide grin. The collar of my embroidered shirt unbuttoned. Like Narcissus, I almost fell into my image, but the puddle, though filthy, was shallow and couldn't drown me. So saved. Imaginary utensils, my feet teaches me how to cut a steak. Okay, that's one. And I'm gonna read another poem that was just workshopped earlier. It's called Hustle of Slanted Eyes. He lives through enchanted ice, and taking it for granted, eyes me and says, "You're so extra." My quest for love ungranted, ice capitalized. I write a poem, a mantra I've often chanted, ice bigger than him, who has left me in the scorching heat where I've panted. Ice, cream would be nice. If you don't love me, be the pride of my unslanted eyes. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. What do we want next? Well, it's been a while since, as he admitted himself, that we've had Miss Rick Christensen. So looks like the Ramdonator has moved him up to the number 2 spot. So take it away, Rick.
Okay. Um, I guess it was about a year and a half ago. A bunch of poets were sitting around, and we were going over two conjectures. One, that no one has ever written a good poem about the moon, and then the other conjecture was, well, there have been good moon poems, but they've all been written. And so Jason Reberg, who runs Spartan Press, Damien Ruschi was really adamant about this. There's no such thing as a good moon poem. So just to mess with Rushi, Jason is putting together a moon poem anthology, and he was able to anchor it with three moon poems from Ted Kuzer. And it's hopefully coming out sometime next spring. Well, he solicited me to write some moon poems for him, and so I'm going to read two of my moon poems that I recently submitted to Reberg. Um, First one's called "Shine On." Two shadows stitched by neon. They stumble out of the bar, pockets light, lungs full of beer and laughter. The night smells like wet asphalt and something just beginning to cool. The full moon waits above the river, its face so bright it seems to remember everything at once. One says, "You ever think it's been watching us since before we were born?" The other grins, tilts his head back, and begins to hum, shine on, harvest moon," low and slurred, like the tune's been hiding in his chest for years. The moon answers in pale chords across the water, silver ripples breaking time apart. They sing louder, up in the sky, their voices uneven, beautiful in their ruin. Streetlights flare, dogs stop barking. For a moment, the city remembers itself. I ain't had no lovin' since January, February, June, or July. One of them calls and the other repeats it. Not mockery, but belief. The words lift, unbuttoned from irony, as if the moon has tuned them to some older key. People lean out of windows, half annoyed, half blessed. The river keeps time. They walk on, the song trailing behind them, like the scent of rain on metal. And the moon, that patient witness, shines harder, as if to say, go on, boys. Remember what it feels like to be alive enough to sing. Thank you. Okay, this next one is a haibun, and it's called Full Moon Shift. And I actually hearkened back to one of my first jobs after high school. I was an orderly at the Medical College of Virginia in Richmond, Virginia. And this is back in the 1970s when you didn't get any training. They just bring you in and teach you how to do really scary shit. And I worked as an orderly in the ER. And they had two ERs back then because they hadn't invented trauma centers. We had a surgical ER and a medical ER. And the surgical ER on Friday and Saturday nights when there was a full moon was full of gunshot wounds and drug overdoses and stabbings. And my job as an orderly was to hold people down while they cut their clothes off of them. And this is a poem based kind of on that. It's called Full Moon Shift, a haibun. The doors keep their own pulse. They breathe open and shut, drawing in the night's offerings, drunks, stab wounds, overdoses that still have a pulse. Heat slicks every surface. Sweat glosses the gloves meant to protect us from what keeps leaking through. Someone screams before they arrive. Another punches the wall and apologizes through blood. We mop until the bucket clouds red, tracing the same bright circle beneath the surgical lamps. The floor is never clean enough. The light too honest. Outside, the moon balances on the lip of the ambulance bay, white, deliberate, and watching. Every full moon drags the worst out of the city. The air tastes of metal. We keep our heads down, move bodies from chaos to suture, listen to the hum that means the world still runs. Gravity refuses to ease. The moon keeps its grip. White moon full again. Blood rinsed from the tiles returns in the next siren. Thank you, guys. Great to be here.
Good to have you back, Rick. Very nice. And now, who does the Ramdonator want to bring up next? Let's go with Ron Bremer, or
Okay, hi,
Brenner. I should
buddy.
pronounce it more correctly.
That's close enough. I'd like to introduce my new collection. It's my ninth uh, print collection. It's called "You Who Are the Stranger," and it's collected poems from 1979 through 1989. It's published by the Westbury Literary Group, fantastic publisher. And I'd like to read three short poems from this. And by the way, I'll be, if anyone is interested, I'll be featuring on November the 1st, the Saturday, on the Saturday Literary Salon with Dane Inch. And I'll also be featuring on November 13th at the Parkland Poets. Both of them are on Zoom. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So here we go. Smoke rings like rumors, and dreams like stale cigarettes, and a cracked ashtray left behind at the old apartment. Arena sizzles in time and space. The air is hot where she has been. Blonde hair conceals the dark that burns inside her eyes. And just one more. All these absurd rules I've never understood now begin to make sense, seen through the bottom of an empty beer mug. They lace into a soft but strong net, stretching out below you to catch your helpless falling body and bounce you back up again. You are saved from the terror, the strange fate of falling faultlessly free to some unknown and doubtless horrible destination, if there be an end to the fall at all. Thank you and have a pleasant night.
Thank you, Ron. Congratulations on the new collection and good luck with the future. Up next, I'd like to bring Jan Rowe if she's not in the other room.
There you go.
Yeah. Hi. I've been going through like a half century of papers. This is from the Black Seed 2019, September 17th. It's a weekly. I'm reading something by Troy Brown. He's homeless. He's half paralyzed also. It's called Elegantly Oppose. I heard that I have a problem, that I think that I'm better than others. And sometimes I don't wipe my tears properly, that I'm not loyal and can't take the pain, can't take a joke. Take one for the team is the message. Let's see what he does when he thinks he's alone. We liked you better before. You know what you have to do. A lot of people are going to die. Thank you.
Wow.
Troy.
Yeah.
Enough said. Thank you, Jan. And now the comic stylings of Bill Lewis. After that.
Don't
After a
get
poem
no
like that.
respect around here. I tell you, I don't get no respect.
Are you ready to laugh? All right, sorry. Anyway,
They said he couldn't do it. It's not been done before. We've always known the Middle East is war and war and war. A two-bit U.S. businessman with no political backing has no chance to end the war and soon will be sent packing. He said he'd close the border to those who break the law, that Congress pass the people want, no matter what its flaws. Crime's gone crazy, the madman cried. The murders rate's too high. If we just throw the perps in jail, far fewer folks will die. Unfair, the opposition cried. These people are oppressed. It's not their fault, their violence. Their cultures are just a mess. The giant orange orangutan paid them little heed. I do not care what others think. I care what Americans need. And now the world grows quiet as bombs no longer fall, and the folks who live in Texas are safe behind a wall. The impossible has happened. I didn't think it could, but now I think I'll praise the president. I think that we all should.
thank you, Bill, the man behind the berries. And now let's bring up next Mr. Robert Fleming. For those of you who have been missing their regular dose of visual poets from Delaware, here he is. Oh, and let me get the share options back up. Okay, you're good.
Thank you, Chad. Good evening. I'm Robert Fleming. I'm a visual poet and digital artist from Delaware, and I'm going to share some new and older work. This is a new visual poem, which is a little bit on the naughty side. Kentucky, fry your ass. Colonel Sanders sanctions me to finger lick your cheeks. Spread now, love. And since we were talking about donuts at the beginning, I will share some digital art about donuts. One thing which you're probably grateful that you don't know, which is when you're going to create digital art, when you start with a brown image, it just ends up in deletes. So this is your regular sugar donut. And this is a like a contact sheet, which they used for photography. So it's a digital art contact sheet. These are some different digital art donuts I was able to make from the sugar donut. And these are some more of them. And let's go back up and let's have people unmute and either scream out or put in the chat which donut they would want now.
I like the liquefy smudge
Okay, okay.
and the Pixel Studio, the pink one.
Pixel Art Studio. Anybody likes a green donut? Bill, you're muted.
Everybody now, Trippy Trace, Trippy Trace. Come on, everybody, choose your donut. Trippy Trace.
I want the blue donut or the purple donut.
No, I agree. Trippy Trace.
Pixel art.
Yay,
I'll take the
Trippy.
Amethyst. Amethyst.
I'll take the boring original.
Thank you. On the way out of the room, you will receive $10 for being in the Dunkin' Donuts opinion group. And And here is, I think it's called focus group. Here is also a bagel. Again, it's brown, which doesn't create great
I can do
words.
that. Oops, sorry.
And here, let's have some people say which one are their favorite bagels.
Amethyst.
I'll vote for
That's
him.
I'm going Trippy Trace again.
okay.
What do you
Okay.
think it tastes like, Trippy Trace?
Does
It tastes
liquefy
like
smudge have cream cheese in it?
yeah, it tastes like Tutti
Ah.
Frutti ice cream in a Laurel and Hardy movie. It looks like
It
Tutti Frutti
probably
to
just
me.
tastes like bread, you know.
Tutti Frutti and gluten.
Okay, and I will end with a new poem which I wrote, and I already took to the Poetry Global Network group for critique. And here it is. Pick, peel, and squeeze Alan's mandarins. It's a little naughty too. My middle name is Alan. Your first name is Al. Your name is in my name. In grade 8, when two people liked to spin the navel orange, it was enough to spend 7 minutes in the closet. Are our same names enough? I like Al. I dislike blood oranges. Thank you for letting me share some food and a poem.
Thank you very much, sir. Oh, where's my? Oh, here we go. Change the view. Oh, great. All right. So, what do we have next? Let's go to Mr. Richard Spizak.
Thank you, my friends. I have a little, it's kind of a two-part piece. It's relatively brief, though. I hope you find it amusing. I'm going to share screen if that's okay, Dokie. Thank you, sir. So here we go. The first part you may be familiar with this charming piece of artwork. It's known as a tribute to eternal friendship. And this is a statue that was erected with a permit in downtown Washington. But you may be surprised to hear that the art critics with the Trump administration found some codicil where they could pull it down despite the permit. So here we go. They took the time to get a permit that they would do it with the increment of a digital implemented political statue. In prime time, it was actual. The permit retrieved no longer up their sleeve. This little tribute to friendship lost at such a cost. It sent 1,000 troops. So oops, the fragile thing would, despite the permit, no longer sing. The barbarians, these anti-artists, took it down, knocking this two friendship statue to the ground, while no longer would they prance above, despite the permit. Some determined an infraction met their eyes and tumbled down. But like the elephant that goes unmentioned, we turn from this page to the next one. They sought and got a fresher permit. With these special heels, they sought preferment. They got a second permit to allow the special tribute to a friendship. Wow. But a host of officials, it seems, would stymie somehow their fevered dreams. And despite their special permit, thwart this oh so tender discernment. Yes, despite this double-dealing squad whose anger would upset the gods, the intrepid artist found a way around the clown that would deny the public this winked-at ploy. So, dear friends, the end is they sent it, they went it. The file is freely available, so you and your 3D printer can cost-free make your own copy. Isn't that nice? Art will out. And then this, you I'm sure enjoyed as I did the charming performance art poetry of the protests out west. This from Portland. It's called Upon Observing the Whimsically Costumed Response to Nude Age Stormtroopers in Portland. The human spirit makes no claim amidst confusion, shows no twiddling twilight shame or hope. An honest reaction to such uses of fame or faction, no sideways glancing satisfaction, says Clyde, who's hiding beside the sample serving so well armed of petty bourgeois putrefaction. Yet maybe some savage savings of savvy moments yield more man-made carriage than dadgum that pretty purple cabbage. The purple Drew roars. Conceal the vacuous veterans, those well-paid vast recruits, marked outstanding in their union suits, replacing, chasing the brown recruits there on display and yet so little befitted these ill-used tools. Though you may yet stray and yield, freshlet fashion's carrot juice remains unconcealed, and there in the confusion, trackless uses of fruity fusion, these fractured distractions, wastage of flaunted, unvaunted, yet valued, wanted time. Yet you'll glow your way, and I'll glow mine. But this bench observed the curves of so deepening, creepening trench through suburban wrench, and while precisely Mary Michael threw the spanner wrench, beseeching billions in the compelling purple rain, upon this broken crown I paint my anti-royalist disdain. Here without, and yet within, we find the great gray stubble upon my chin, and though no gin or tonic reaches my creaking, leaking sonic logic, fresh friends offer abeyance amid antic amends, so tonic, so rich these leafy lamentations of logic. I do have a spare key, I keep it right here in case and encrusted, so a native must have a place to leave behind a taste of oh so special, albeit plastered over grace. And there they are, the charming protesters, all in a row. Ice, you belong in the drink. Ice, even the froggies are opposed, and then ice is not nice. Thank you.
Nice. Even Cthulhu doesn't approve in that last one. Well, he wouldn't, but except they really are going to replace us someday. If you read a lot of Lovecraft. Up next, let's bring it up to Mr. John Wesick.
Hello, hello. Did you see that Jason Statham movie, A Working Man? Anybody watch that? You know, he's a guy who sleeps in his truck, but he's also an ex-Delta Force guy, and even though he can't afford an apartment, he can afford millions of dollars of high-tech surveillance equipment and stuff like that. Anyway,
Priorities.
Here's a parody called A Shoe Salesman. Oxygen mask secured, altimeter checked, parachute buckles tight. He followed comrades off the C-130's ramp at 30,000 feet in a halo jump. After a 30-second free fall, he opened his chute at 3,000 feet and felt a jerk as the air slowed his fall. Rolling on landing, he was out of his parachute with his M14 up. The infrared sight painted the terrorist headquarters in green. A DHK opened up on his position and he returned fire. Brock Cale woke in a Toyota Corolla. For a decade, he'd been part of an elite military unit fighting the global war on terror. Now, thanks to the free market, he made $1 more than minimum wage. He buzzed an electric shaver over his face and scalp to make himself presentable before entering the shopping mall. Once inside, he bent to tie his desert boot and a lace broke. Using his key, he opened the metal grate at Soul Kitchen, adjusted a display espadrille on the way in, and took a pair of shoelaces from the counter. Even with the 10% employee discount, he was down $5 he couldn't afford. Ronaldo and Bunny arrived while he was vacuuming the showroom. Listen up, people. Brock wrapped the vacuum's cord. We've got a long day ahead of us. Don't be sloppy out there. With every purchase, upsell the customer on polish, shoelaces, and accessories. Soul Kitchen will pay you a nickel for every heel plate you install. So far, Ronaldo is leading our competition. Don't make it easy for him to claim the canned ham. Let's do this. The sales force bumped fists. It was a busy morning with children wanting basketball shoes while their parents preferred patent leather brogues for church. As Brock came out of a storage with a pair of size 8 wooden clogs, a loan shark in black Oxfords trapped Ronaldo's arms behind his back while a second wearing loafers sank his fists into Ronaldo's gut. G wants his money, yo! Hey, Brock shouted, leave him alone. This isn't your business, stay out of it. It is my business. Well, not technically, but I am the assistant manager. Brock pitched a clog like a fastball at the loudmouth. It struck Loafer's nose at 90 miles per hour and bursted like a trash bag full of tomato soup. Oxford swung an 8-inch carbon steel chef knife with full tang and a satin finish. Brock blocked with the remaining clog and guided the slash into Oxford's thigh. He grabbed the pump from the rack and threatened Oxford's eye with a stiletto heel. Get out of here and don't come back until you're serious about buying. Brock shoved Oxford out the entrance. Damn, Ronaldo said, that's some Delta Force shit. You a Navy SEAL or something? Keep this to yourself. Brock straightened his checkered sports jacket now. Clean this mess up. Anyway, we will continue in the second half. A shoe salesman.
Watch out, author. And now I'd like to bring it to Rita Rusty Rose.
Thank you. And I'm going to share for a change. I'm working on this poem.
Okay.
Some of you will understand it. Some of you are not there yet. So, A Strand for All Seasons. When I was born, my hair was strawberry downy. Childhood locks and ringlets were popular too. In my teen years, hair was iron, long and red. At 20, I sported a hard-edged buzz. 30s was short and spiked. 40s and 50s, my do remained in constant flux. 60s and 70s, I began to favor a long ponytail. Partway to 80, I have noticed my less tame hair insist on doing its own multi-textured, fine, wiry, and static thing. Each day I battle with obstinate tresses. Seldom are there good hair days. Most often I surrender to this ongoing hair war. Begrudgingly, I have accepted rocking an Einstein do, as do many senior citizens who, along with a frown, sport the must style too. I see Jan got it. and Bill too.
Thank you, Rita. To my surprise, to my delight, we're actually graced by the former poet laureate, or the poet laureate emeritus of, I should say, the poet populist of Cambridge, recently returned to Cambridge. Let's welcome up Tony B. If she is willing to read. That would be great. It looks like she might be in a position where she can only listen. We'll try again. For the moment, we'll have a musical interlude with Mr. Ethan Mackler. Thank you so much, Ethan. I've not been able to reach Tony, so I'm presuming she's just listening.
Hi,
Uh,
just a,
oh, oh,
I'm just,
oh,
hey, I'm just working, so I have to listen and I have to support through listening. Hi,
well,
everyone.
thank you, Tony. Okay. Oh, yeah, Jesus. Okay, let's welcome up Mr. Heart Attack Girl. Let's welcome up Mr. James Van Loy to close out the first round of the round robin.
Thanks, Chad. I have a poem here called Notes from the Holy Wasteland. Where, oh, where is wild John the Baptist? Now that we really need him, oh, him, in this lame stream time of pussy-footed mendacity. We stand frozen on the ebless, barren shore and look for the water no longer there. Only effluent issues from a single pipe, and the growing, buoyant power of this dying Dead Sea becomes more and more dense, but nowhere is the fierce, growling countenance of the hairy jerkin and leather loincloth to call us to the one who will save us. No, we stand on the bank before the last place where the holy stream disappears forever, and all we can see is the old legend church where they say he once long gone called upon us to sink to the cleansing depth, only to rise to a new life in a reborn world. He is not there, even as she is everywhere. The Black Virgin Madonna is in her place in a new chapel of prayer of St. John's. The mythological and the spiral of the sea worm snail is stained glass so far within, and pediment sculptures so high without, way up there, where we long to go again, but cannot, until the decapitated man, somewhere, some way, reclaims the pure waters of his signal ministry to prepare the way for all of us too desperately alone waiting to notice we are the one we've been waiting for. Thank you.
So that was Poe.
James. And this is the second round where we all pass go, collect $200 of imaginary bucks. And we circle back to Jackie Chow, I guess she's our boardwalk for the night. But
Okay.
oh no, that'd be Mediterranean Ave. Sorry, I got it mixed up in my head. Sorry. Anyway, let's start off with you again for the second round.
Okay, the second round, I'm gonna read a poem that I wrote back in the 90s. Oh, maybe I cannot do that. Maybe I can. Okay. When I was about 20 years old. It's called The Well. I cannot look at the sunny face that appears in my doorway. I cannot look at the blooming red roses that lie at my bedside. Every time I do, I close my eyes to feel my lashes get wet and my eyes ooze tears from a deep black well. Every time I do, I clench my fist to feel my nails plunge into my flesh and my palm feels pain from a deep black well. That well inside me where my heart gets squeezed and then crushed until it bleeds all its blood into that deep black bottom. That well inside me where my throat gets stuck for words and nothing come out but a whimper and a wail. How many times have I heard a knock on the door and wished that it had been you? But then I'd remember that your knocks are gentler and more graceful. How many times have I looked into the peephole and wished that it had been you? Then I'd remember that your eyes are more well-shaped and of a brighter shade of brown. Thank you. So for the second round, we're only allowed to read one poem or two.
You have another short poem, go ahead.
Okay. This is an ekphrastic poem. I could have joined the crowd of cookie cutter dolls, yet I chose to turn around. I envy the crow whose eyes see everything and nothing all at once. I've reached the summit only to find a higher peak I wish I had climbed. My eyes are vacant like a ghost, my mind somewhere else in a past that has been erased, a dream I'd love to crawl back into. I stand on my balcony wishing for wings to fly away without anyone knowing, instead of descending the stairs to a world all too familiar, of endless anxiety. The eye of a crow is both freedom and a prison with its round brim. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. If he's still here. Oh yes, Mr. Rich Christensen, you just showed up in the middle of my board. It was like a ever shifting Hollywood squares, so you could put the center X here. So welcome, and the floor is yours once more.
Okay, fantastic. What a great night. I'm going to read a longer one and then a short one. This longer one came out this in the summer edition of the Sheila Nagig. I've been writing a lot of magical realism, exploring trauma in life and how we carry trauma and how we manage trauma and how we deal with trauma. And but from kind of a tangential way. And so this is a weird one. It's called His New Antlers. It started with a bump, barely a bruise under his hair, but by Tuesday, a velvet crown was blooming from his skull like something holy and inconvenient. Mom gasped when he walked into the kitchen and knocked down the spice rack, cinnamon everywhere. He tried to apologize, but the antlers got there first, took out the light fixture and a ceiling tile. By Thursday, he couldn't fit through doorways without turning sideways, tilting like a boy trying to bow with too much gravity. I told him to stop it, to cut them off or think smaller thoughts. You're always doing this, I said, making everything about you. But I was the one who yelled when the walls cracked. He just blinked, eyes rimmed red, like they'd been staring into snow for too long. We tried putting him in hats, wide-brimmed things from the thrift store, one with feathers that made him look like a lost colonial ghost, another like a jungle explorer who had gotten too close to some terrible god. He slept on his side, pillowed between chair cushions, his antlers poking holes in the drywall. Every morning, I found tufts of plaster dust in his hair, like dandruff made of houses we couldn't afford to fix. I told myself it was just growing pains, some weird hormonal thing. But his silence grew, like a room added to the house when no one was building. It took me weeks to stop being angry, even longer to stop laughing when he got stuck in the hallway, antlers wedged like some broken wishbone we couldn't make a wish on. But last night, I saw him curled up in the bathtub, trying to hide, the velvet peeling away, raw bone beneath, the color of grief. And I remembered the man at the door with the badge and the clipboard, his voice, a flat tire on gravel. We couldn't answer his questions. The backpack that never came back from his walk home from school that day. He came home without words, but the silence reeked of something taken. How he stopped talking after that night, but started drawing forests in the margins of his school books, dense places without people. Now the house is full of cracks and antler-shaped shadows. We eat dinner in shifts. Mom cries when no one is looking. I've started sleeping in the living room just to be near him. And when I wake to the scrape of horn on plaster, I don't yell anymore. Instead, I open the window a little wider. Thanks. Okay, and then one a bit shorter. Um, This is about trauma in a different way, I guess. Drawn from my childhood, which was a little sideways. It's called Stealing Lipstick. Stealing Lipstick. She took my hand, not for love, but to keep it steady. Her whisper sharper than fluorescent light. Don't look nervous. Don't look back. The Kmart aisles were caves, lipsticks stacked like bullets, waiting for mouths to fire them. No glass cases, just women testing shades they couldn't afford. She slipped one tube into my pocket, another into her bra. Her nails bitten raw, painted red, her breath thick with smoke, a smile learned from hunger. Walk casual, she said, as if walking itself were a crime we could perfect. I felt the small heat of stolen color against my thigh, the way survival stains anyone who still believes in fairy tales. At the door, the greeter nodded, all polyester and name tag, and I learned how invisible poverty can be, how a mother teaches her son not with lullabies, but with quiet exits. Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Good luck with your projects. Hope you're able to come back here sooner rather than later. Ron, looks like he had to depart, but we still have Jan Rowe if she'd like to take her turn now. There she is.
Thank you. So, speaking of trauma, this was in this week's weekly from the Black Seed Writers every Tuesday morning at 9:30 in the basement at Cathedral. And helpless. The fast-moving triple-decker fire behind us cracked the bathroom window in two places. He also cracked a kitchen window in two places. The speed of the fire amazed me. I could not return by the way I came as the smoke, heat, and flames drove me back. Fortunately, I was about 2 or 3 houses down Beckett Street before I could return 2 houses down into Dot Ave. The first fire truck could not angle to where the fire was worse. The triple-decker back porch is a torch. About 10 or 11 trucks responded to this triple-decker where we live and where the owner-occupier is down on the first floor. We would have burned. This place would have burned otherwise. I understand now why my brother's stepdaughter learned to parallel park a fire truck when we had a dozen trucks here. She also had to jump from a burning building onto a ladder. And our roof and the next door roofs, the men went up, the firefighters went up there on the ladders. So when the blaze was thought to be extinguished, I was talking with a neighbor, a nursing supervisor, whose daughter had heard the explosion. We thought it was all over, and then it wasn't. She had to evacuate. The fire was in their basement. So before this fire and the awareness of helplessness, I had been, despite Psalm 37, fretting about a lost or missing journal. I was decluttering poorly because I was really looking for that journal, but we could have lost dozens of journals and all those pictures. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. And now we move back to Strawberry Beret himself, Bill Lewis. Top of the strawberry, you're right underneath. Looks like it's giving you a hat. And welcome,
Thank
sir.
you. Oh, yeah, if I put it sort of like I have like a green stem now on my head, right? Thank you, Chad. That's so thoughtful of you.
Yeah, yes, Bill, it's beautiful. Lovely. Chad says lovely.
Mom. When I was in fourth grade, Mom would come into the classroom and lead us all in traditional American folk songs. She'd strum the guitar and sing cowboy songs and immigrant songs and labor union songs. It was the coolest thing. All the other kids were jealous that I had such a fantastic mother. One particular song always struck me as her song. I ride an old paint, I lead an old Dan. I'm going to Montan for to throw the hula hand. They feed in the coulee, they water in the draw. Their tails are all matted, their backs are all raw. Ah, I always thought of Mom as a bit of a horsewoman. It was she who started the Hollywood Hills Riding Club when I was 4 years old. It was the best thing ever. Sandy and I, and later Jackie, loved riding and came to adore all kinds of animals. If there was any way to get some beast as a pet, we would do it. We had family dogs and cats, of course, then rats and mice and snakes and lizards and birds and fish and rabbits and guinea pigs, etc., etc., including at one point a pelican and a coyote. Yes, Mom and Dad let us keep a wild pelican in the swimming pool for a week. The only time I ever remember Mom getting angry was when Goofy got lost. That was kind of bad. Our gopher snake, Goofy, had gotten out of his cage and we couldn't find him. Sandy and I searched for a week and finally gave up, assuming that he'd gotten out of the house somehow or perhaps starved to death by now. Snakes only eat once a month or so, so probably not starved to death. Mom was having a bridge party a week later when one of the ladies spilled her purse behind the couch. As she reached down inside the back of the couch to get out her things, let us say that Mother was not pleased with us. But to show you what kind of a mother my mother was, she did not make us get rid of the animals. Sandy and I could not sit down for a week, but Goofy stayed. That's what kind of mother my mother was. Ah. Mom was an educator. She ran the early childhood education program at Santa Ana College. She continued to work in education, ending up as a board member for Victor Valley College. A big part of the reason I went into teaching was because of her. Teaching has always held a near religious stature in my mind. And finally, my mother was a consummate Toastmaster. She saw Toastmasters an extension of traditional education and held it with great esteem, and she dragged everyone she possibly could to meetings, including me when I graduated from college, pulled by the ear into the Toastmasters meeting. And I am now 50 years a Toastmaster. Mom died a few years ago, and I remember this little poem that Grandot used to recite to us when we were going to bed, staying at her house, and Mom did it too sometimes, and so I thought it appropriate to end with night, night, sleep tight, wake up bright in the morning light to do the right with all your might. Night, night.
And good night, Bill. Thank you. And from Bill to Robert Fleming. If you got one more in you, sir.
Thank you, Chad. So I'm going to share a photograph I took in my neighborhood in September. So I'm just going to show you where I live. So I'm on the right side of this map, this little blue triangle where it says Delaware. And then on the left side is an image of the whole state. This little blue circle here is where I live. And on the right side is a blow up of that. The right side is the Atlantic Ocean. And this little blue circle here again is where I live. So in September, we had some very pretty sunsets in my neighborhood. So I got out my camera. And then this was the first digital edit I did to make the picture black and white. And here it is rainbow sky. And I'm familiar with one of the post-impressionistic styles called pointillism, where the artist would take their brush and just make a tap to the canvas to make like a dot, and that is how they applied the paint. The most famous artist is George Seurat, and here is his most famous painting, Sunday at La Grande Jatte. And recently, about 2 months ago, the digital art software that I use called Canva added some new filters called texture. And this filter is called speckled mist. It sort of gives the feeling of pointillism. And here is another photo I was able to capture on in my community. I call this Messiah Locator. And here is a black and white version of that. And then these are the rapture pods coming down in my community. And obviously I was left behind. And here are the rapture pods in black and white. And I'm going to share one poem. Again, I want to thank the Poetry Global Network, my critique group, who gave me feedback on this poem. Ode to Kellanova, a multinational corporation who makes snacks. When I close my eyelids, the last mango Pop-Tart I toasted in my 2-slice toaster browns into the fat cells in my bum, tingles rainbow sprinkles on my tongue as my right index finger scratches my scratcher. Thank you for letting me share some recent photos of my neighborhood and some new poetry edits.
Thank you, Mr. Doodle. And up next, we have Mr. Richard Spizak.
Thank you so much, my friends. Since I craved your indulgence last time for two little pieces, I have just one for the final. This is called Trumpist Plans for Palestinian Peace. I have to note that CNN has a headline that Trump has announced that, hey, Netanyahu can bomb anytime he wants. It's totally cool with me. Anyway, here we go. Trumpist plans for Palestinian peace. Ach, mein Gott! When will they finally find relief? If there's any less likely plan to lead to peace, it must be hidden in the beaded bedroll of long-dead Chief Kosis. That land developer has a mission as he strodes across the globe, setting his own erratic, oh so strenuous conditions. War off Venezuela, the fisher folk wonder. Vlad has chose, the drones imposed, they're still blasting Kiev. What stars are they under? Is there no relief from grief? Beyond the plan to make a resort, the Palestinians are wonder into whose back that noble West has got its gold-plated ermine-lined pocket to plop its fork in whose back we'll find the fork. Meanwhile, as he's solving a million problems that don't exist, but in his tiny hand, the only kind he can find to fit his little fists. So, oh, who, how, why, what? He'll grind and leave back there on the road to find the milk and honey, his profit from this. We'll all find out so much later. Oh, never mind. Thank you, my friends. Have a good night. Peace to you all.
Well, not with a bang. Thank you, Richard. And and up next, with the next chapter in his saga, his epic, his ongoing landscape of his mind. Let's go to Mr. John Wizik.
Okay, continuing. I'm going to need to take off early on Friday. Bunny Blondie was neither blonde nor a member of the family Leporidae. She had legs that could pedal a bicycle without a fish, hips that demanded a seat at the table, and shoulders that could work twice as hard as a man to succeed without breaking a sweat. Shouldn't be a problem. Brock didn't look up from the day's receipts. Bunny strode into the mall and took a left at Positive Vibrations. Lured into poor arch support by trendy fashion, she entered a rival shoe store. Toe the Line's vegan leather Chelsea boots printed with Ariana Grande's image were worth foregoing Soul Kitchen's 10% employee discount. She sat in the showroom and removed her pumps. From a secret control room, Dmitry Kalashnikov adjusted the surveillance camera to zoom in on Bunny's foot. Francisco Galvan would pay a pretty sum for her company. Her nails were dark green and her instep yearned to be kissed. Dmitry exited to the showroom. How long was Bunny Blondie been missing? The policeman asked. 16 hours, Brock replied. She was supposed to show up for her shift at 10 a.m. Yeah, minimum wage workers often quit without notice. The policeman scribbled on his notepad before stowing it in his shirt pocket. She wouldn't run out on us, Brock said. Soul Kitchen isn't just a business. It's a family. I'll give it 48 hours before filing a missing persons report. The officer examined the sick-souled loafer before leaving. Brock dialed the manager. Sir, Bunny Blondie is missing. I want you to know that I'll do anything to bring her back. I mean, anything. Soul Kitchen is a family, and I take my obligation to care for our family seriously. Yeah, sure thing, Brock. Just do it on your own time. By the way, I'll need you to cover Bunny's shift on Saturday. To be continued.
The action never ends. Thank you, Mr. John Wizik. And we go back to Rita Rusty Rose. Follow her links to vote for her on as for the for her for best poet in the land. I forget what the actual title is. You can tell us.
Be- uh, Best Long Island poet. I don't know if I could put that link there. I'll try. This will be from my book, Flower Poems, Personalities in Bloom, and it's a pantoum, and I will share it so you could see where I'm going with it. Cleome, Brooklyn Gangster Plant. I first met Dom in St. Charles Cemetery. Myriad purple Cleome plants sat on top of his car. He walked over to me with an offering and request. Pray for me, said Don Cleome, as he handed me a pot. Myriad purple Cleome plants sat on top of his car. Don Cleome was dapper in his blue knit suit. Pray for me, said Don Cleome, as he handed me a pot. His voice was Brooklyn gangster as he spoke. Don Cleome was dapper in his blue knit suit. He walked over to me with an offering and request. His voice was Brooklyn gangster as he spoke. I first met Don in St. Charles Cemetery. Thank
Thank you, Rita. And now let's get some music going by Mr. Mackler himself. With that, our final reader of the night, check out his poem column publishing tomorrow at 11 o'clock, as always, every Thursday. It's all one thing. And our poet closing out the open mic, Mr. James Van Loy.
Thanks, Chad. So I got a quotation here to start off with from Marshall McLuhan from his book, The Media is the Massage, which originally was The Media is the Message, but somehow it got messed up in the printing, and he decided to leave the title as Media is the Massage. And it was actually his kind of effort to transcend the book form uh, in the sort of mid 20th century. And this is called Your Government. Nose counting, a cherished part of the 18th century fragmentation process, has rapidly become a cumbersome and ineffectual form of social assessment in an environment of instant electric speed. The public, in the sense of a great consensus of separate and distinct viewpoints, is finished. Today, the mass audience, the successor to the public, can be used as a creative participating force. It is instead merely given packages of passive entertainment. Politics offers yesterday's answers to today's questions. A new form of politics is emerging in ways we haven't yet noticed. The living room has become a voting booth. Participation via television, in freedom marches, in war, revolution, pollution, and other events is changing everything. And here's a poem called The Last Samurai Dark Comedy. The Last Samurai was was a movie about this guy who tries to defend his people as the whole imperial system of Japan basically is being blown apart by their being pulled into the trade system of the mid 19th century. The Last Samurai dark comedy. One way or another, that rotten old way of life is just rodent bitten toast. And whatever the cult of MAGA Trump, of that's what I believe, to hell with fact and fiction, uber alles, pay no attention, history is myth. And myth is now a legendary being character, a god among all the other great gods, sickly, white, ghastly, shocked face, and ever growing, outflowing, blowback right in our face, and those who had it all imposed upon us. This Knights of the Round Table laying down in the quiet room, and the hero with most thousand faces buried so deep under all the stuff, the commercial debris, the tsunami of what they're wearing, this first one on the block to get that swimming pool full of electrical devices. We haven't got enough cash to pay the taxes again, but look how much we're worth. There must be at least some meaning still hanging around the patio. If only we managed to get blown up, not get blown up by those so clever, new tactical nukes, and the old our way or the highway, which left no way to walk from here to there. These asphalt ovals encircling fully are each and every possible way out again, and we're so way out, but no matter, something is ending. And what's more, things are already not the same, and more so, will never be the same again. And again, I can see it, how things change from one form to another form. Thank you.
That's good. How old's that?
Not too old.
And with that, we are signing off for the night. I am going to remind you once again that we do have feature next week and hopefully a holiday feature to announce very shortly. I do want to remind
We missed
that
something from James. We missed his song.
I don't think you had a song this time.
You have a song for us, James?
I guess you can take requests.
I can do one, sure.
Okay.
Sometimes I wonder why I spend the lonely night dreaming of a song. The melody haunts my reverie until I'm once again with you when our love was new and each kiss and inspiration, but that was long ago. Now my consolation is in the stardust of a song behind the garden wall when stars are bright. You are in my arms. The nightingale tells that fairy tale, a paradise where roses grew. Though I dream in vain, in my heart it will remain the stardust memory, the melody of love's refrain. Peace.
That's Stardust, huh?
Stardust.
And with that, our music request has been answered. Thanks to Tony for listening, and thanks to everyone on the open mic who participated tonight. I can't wait until next week. We have Elliot Gray Bruhen, who's going to be, and he's MFA graduate recent, and He's going to be with us next Wednesday, and hopefully the Halloween feature will be announced very shortly. I want to do something fun, and I think we're going to get it. So stay tuned for more. And don't forget the Oddball Horathon. We're still accepting submissions for that until I believe it's up until the 24th or even the 26th. We're planning to run them for the last week of October, no matter how may I accept. Might even do one extra day for the Day of the Dead in November. And we've had some really great stuff before, and Mr. thanks to Mr. Fleming for the art and volunteering a year before I'd even asked for it. So that was incredibly convenient and very helpful. So thank you again for that. And with that, we do the wave. I'm the only one in daylight. I need to get a nighttime photo. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you guys for your continued support. We're going to meet again next week for feature Elliot Gray Boothen. His information will be going up, excuse me, for tomorrow. And I'm looking very forward to that. And hopefully, going to be posting some calls for submissions as well. There's a lot of stuff going on right now. If you have your own calls, let us know. Drop them in my direct messenger in Facebook, or even just send them here. I'll probably get them after the fact or email them to me. Thank you so much for tonight, and appreciate all your support. Take care of yourself. Take care of someone else. Be safe if you're going to be walking around the open on this coming Saturday. Thank you so much and take care.